Perfect. And you guys can see this.
Well,
Perfect.
welcome back. I know that you guys are mid-project right now, looking at those lovely colorful tablets dissolving and timing them, but we are going to take a quick break from that. And it's time to engage with our two amazing college mentors who are here to talk about their experience studying engineering. And we have Joshua and Grace who are going to introduce themselves. But then, as I said, teachers, this is your opportunity. Get to those keyboards and ask these amazing mentors some questions. And so I'm going to pass it off to Grace to introduce herself.
All right. Yeah. Hi. So I'm Grace. I'm currently a junior at Notre Dame studying chemical engineering, with a minor in engineering corporate practice. And actually, so my major is in the Department of like chemical and biomolecular engineering. So that has a ton to do with drug delivery. So that's where I like have a lot of problems in my classes relating to that. So definitely very well versed in that currently. But within engineering, I'm more interested in like the energy side of things with like carbon capture and low carbon solutions. So just like a little bit different from drug delivery, but still talk about it a lot in my classes just because of the department I'm in. So just kind of going through like my progression with engineering. When I was in high school, I took a lot of AP classes. I took like AP chemistry, AP biology, I did AP calculus. And I was definitely really interested in STEM, but I didn't quite know what I wanted to do with it. I didn't really get involved in any sort of engineering clubs or take any engineering classes. So I was a little bit apprehensive going into an engineering major in college just because I never had any experience with it. But in high school, I was really involved in like swimming and I did some mentoring programs at my high school. And those were just like a really great time. And I definitely highly encourage just doing what you want to do in high school and just doing clubs that you find fun. But yeah, back in 2021, I started at Notre Dame and I started as like a chemical engineering major. I've been that the whole time I've been here, even though I didn't really know what chemical engineering entailed. But I like began my first engineering classes and I really started to learn like what engineers do in these classes. And I just really loved it. I really loved the problem solving that I got to do. I got to work with a lot of different teams. And I just really liked the nature of the work I was doing. It was really fun and like group oriented versus just sitting in a lot of lectures. And then since my freshman year, I've studied abroad in London for a summer. I'm really involved in different leadership positions on campus. I'm a part of Engineering Leadership Council, which is kind of like the student body for the engineering college at Notre Dame. So it would just be like student body president, that sort of thing. But that's the council I'm involved in. So not as like technical, but more just the leadership aspect of it. And then also I'm the vice president of my dorm. So that's definitely been a really big thing for me is just getting involved in different leadership things. And then now for like next summer, I'm going to be working at BP where I like chose that because they're super interested in becoming net zero by 2050. And for me, I was just really curious about the clean energy movement. And so working for a company where that's really one of their goals was super important to me. And then just some pictures for context. The top left, those are just like some whiteboards I would make in high school. I would have like my huge piece of advice is like when you're in high school, really learn how you study and how you do your homework and like how to time manage because you're only going to get busier in college. There's so many more opportunities and so many more things to do with your free time. So understanding how to get your work done effectively is really important. And for me, I kind of found that for studying, making these big whiteboards really helped me and really helped me just visually put all the material out on like one page. And then also like there's a picture of me from my high school swimming championship. We won that year. So I just wanted to show that, brag a little bit, and just talk about, it's okay to do completely different things for engineering. You don't need to like only do academically focused things. And then on the top right, those are some pictures of like some of my first engineering projects. So that was in my first like engineering design class. And I like worked on 3D printing there. And that was really fun. I like never learned how to use CAD or use a 3D printer. So it was just really fun coming to college and learning these new skills in engineering. And then the bottom right picture, that's the dorm I stayed at in London. So I was there for 6 weeks with the College of Engineering for the summer after my freshman year. And I would definitely say, like, if you have any sort of opportunity to go abroad or experience something new, definitely take it. I loved my time there. It was really great. I got to get some classes out of the way. So that's why I get to do my minor now. And that was just such a great experience getting to be abroad and just experience something new. And then the bottom left pictures are kind of some things that I've been doing now. So there's a picture of a graph, which something about chemical engineering I didn't know going into it is a lot of what you're doing is reading different graphs and charts and understanding like how like the data works and how to like read these different graphs that contain a lot of information on it. Next, that is a picture of me in office hours, which my next piece of advice is definitely go to office hours. It cuts my homework time down by like a third if I have a professor helping me with it. And then I have a picture of me with the president and the other vice president of my dorm, and this is a color run that we put on every year that raises money for breast cancer. So that's just something that I do outside of engineering that I really love, and definitely like I'd highly suggest doing things outside of academic ventures. They're kind of the things that you get to talk about in interviews and the things that you get to go to have fun and just be with some other friends outside of the College of Engineering. And I've definitely loved my time doing this. And then the last picture is a picture of me in lab. I'm wearing like my goggles, my lab coat, like my full PPE because I was in a chemistry lab there. And my time in lab has been super fun and like some of my favorite classes I've had.
And yeah, hi guys. My name is Josh. I'm a senior at Hopkins, getting out right now. My major is chemical and biomedical engineering, around the same area as her, except I go in a little different route. My interest in engineering is drug delivery and small molecule therapeutics. So, asking how can we manipulate these drugs and how can we manipulate the release of these drugs to actually make it more accessible and make it more helpful for patients who experience these really, really hard and debilitating cancers, diseases, all that. I also minor in psychology just because I find it interesting as well. But yeah, go to the next slide and find some more about my journey. Um, yeah, so in high school, it just started off with this like small lab project. I had no idea what I was doing. But it was my first kind of foray into research, and it got me a little bit interested, much like you guys are getting interested into research right now. It's just all about the first kind of steps. It's all about kind of engaging with it and touching the material and saying, like, I like this part, maybe I like this part more, and then just being curious, being able to go out there and just being comfortable and confident with yourself within research. So I worked at PM Pediatrics, just a medical receptionist. Before I wanted to be in pre-med, I wanted to do doctor stuff. But I kind of realized that the only reason I wanted to be a doctor was because everyone else kind of told me, be a doctor. And so as I kind of adjusted and kind of had a more open mind about what I wanted around me, I just wanted to ask questions and I wanted to have conversations and I would talk to professors and I would talk to just professionals in other fields, and just genuinely being curious helped me land this position as a peptide chemist at BioNTech. BioNTech was part of the development of the COVID vaccine, if you guys weren't aware of it, and we're really proud of it. And I was really proud of being in BioNTech because it was such a top flight engineering biotech research firm. But the reason I kind of got placed into that position wasn't because I had experience. The only experience I had was being at Nando's restaurant and also just working as a medical receptionist. So nothing close to doing research and immunotherapy and cell therapy. The only reason I got that position was because I asked her really genuine questions about her research. I did research on her as a recruiter beforehand and what she was kind of interested in. So that landed me that position and got me interested in doing cancer work. Then landed me a position in the Hopkins Medical building where I researched combination therapies for breast cancer, trying to make it easier for patients who go through these very debilitating chemotherapeutics that are very hard on their immune system, very hard on every part of their body. And in the future, I'm working on a PhD in immunology to just spread the word of research, just talk about it with people like you guys and get more people involved. And I can go more into my journey up here. So yeah, again, Nando's PM Pediatrics only my kind of experience going into the research world. But I had a blast. Like the reason I had so much fun at that BioNTech place was just because I talked to professionals there and I just had genuine conversations like, why do you like research? What do you like doing in your free time? And that got me connections into just talking to other people about research and getting more curious about other facets of research that I loved. So eventually I got involved in just doing mouse work. You can see that there with the little picture and me in my little, cap and gown. And just maturing as a researcher and as a professional enabled me to be more curious about the world around me and being open to those new experiences. So if I were to give you any advice throughout this whole presentation, it's just be curious, ask questions, be confident. And that takes a lot to ask for, right? But just try to build those skills by just talking to adults and kind of being confident moving forward. And the reward of that, of course, like I'm happy doing the research and doing what I do, but the reward is just making friends with people. You can see like I was in this like Amgen Scholars program where I just talked to people about research and became friends with them, and we just have a group chat. We check on each other like once in a while, and they're my friends. They're my lifelong friends, and it just tells you about how important in the professional field friends are, because these days, like you have to get a connection to get into kind of any job that you kind of want. And you send in a resume, and that's also a great way to kind of get into there. But the connections is what matter, because human connection matters. And that's my kind of future work now with the little kind of like syringe there. That's me doing a biomaterial to kind of understand how to release the sensitizing agent that we're using for the therapeutics. So yeah, that's my kind of recap.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen, but it looks like we have a question. I see one about like recently applying to Notre Dame, asking what to do to enhance your application, all of that. So what I'll say is like to this day, I like always still question, like I don't know exactly what got me into Notre Dame. I love it here. I'm so happy I'm here, but I don't know what about my application set me apart. I know I definitely had a lot of leadership positions in high school, so it could be that. I think I wrote pretty great essays, so it could be that. Not totally sure if it was my grades. I had a few B's sprinkled in there. So I would say though, what I think it is now is I think that for like everything that I did in high school, I really showed a big passion through it. So whether it was showing that I swam for all 4 years and became the captain of my club swim team, or I was involved in a mentoring program where I became the leader of it, or even like in my essays, one of them I wrote about this puzzle that my brother and I play every single day, and we like compete on times. And I just wrote about how I love this puzzle for like it's fun. I get to like try and connect different patterns with it, but also get to talk to my brother. And I think that's one of the most important things that you can show to a college is that you're truly, truly passionate about what you're doing and what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, colleges want really engaged students. They want people who are going to ask questions and really attend lectures and really be involved with the campus. So I would just say, like, talk about what you love, really show that with all your documents you submit. And I think that that will just like really help your application. And then in terms of the like financial aid and scholarship stuff, so for Notre Dame, you automatically get considered for all financial aid and scholarships that we have here. To my knowledge, there's no extra scholarships that you apply for. At least when I was applying, that's what it said all over the application. And financial aid, if you fill out the FAFSA, they'll automatically consider you for that. And it's also, I know that they're like need blind. So when they're reading your application, they're not going to know if you're applying for financial aid. So it won't affect your decision at all, but they will like meet your financial aid needs.
Yeah, no, great answer. Amazing. Couldn't explain it further. A great question about preparing yourself for the engineering field, because that kind of touches on how do you prepare yourself in the professional field? And like, that's not really a direct question, but I think the kind of thing that I learned about being a professional is that, especially if you're going to a field that you really want to specialize in and have like a kind of impact and reputation in it, that's the thing you have to worry about, like reputation. Just think about how you're interacting with the people around you. Think about if you're being nice, if you're being polite, if you're being confident, if you're being helpful. A lot of those kind of activities, a lot of those interactions, not only will just help you just because you're a nice person and it helps you like connect with people, but that always comes back to you. That karma always comes back to you when they have a job opportunity for you and they want to say, "Hey, I have this guy who's amazing. He's qualified, he's driven, he's purposeful." That's what gets you that job application, not just kind of submitting a resume. That's, of course, you can get in with that, but that's not the only one that gets you in. A great question here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
can.
I'm seeing another question just about like what a typical day looks like. And my answer is there is no typical day. I'd say like my classes really vary day by day. Like yesterday I had one, today I have three. But just kind of like generally, I wake up, I have 9:30, I start at 9:30 every day. So not as brutal as sometimes high school is with starting at 8 a.m. I typically go to classes. I have some breaks in between mine. So I normally try to get some homework done in between that. I like meet up with friends for lunch, just like depending on the day. And then for me, I'm training for a half marathon right now. That's going to be in April, and I'm doing a marathon next year. So I've been adding a lot of running into my daily schedule, which definitely you can do. That's something I didn't think I would be able to do when I was starting college. But if you want to do something, you can always find the time for it. So normally I'll have some sort of run scheduled in there. And then I normally have meetings of some sort, whether that's for my position in my dorm or for engineering leadership council. I'll have time for that. But normally, I mean, I can still go to bed at a reasonable hour, still hang out with my friends some. And it sounds like I'm doing a lot, but really I love it. So it doesn't feel like I'm doing a lot. So yeah, it's normally pretty busy, but you can definitely manage your time really well.
Yeah, no, exactly on the dot. There's not a singular day that isn't different, and I appreciate that. And I think those days kind of come around when you kind of are involved in your either your community, your school, your university. Not just kind of saying, I'm gonna do this assignment, go back to my dorm. Of course, I'll have a 4.0 GPA because all I'm doing is just studying and kind of hitting the books and just being in the library all day. Every day will kind of seem the same. Every day will kind of be a little boring. But that's not what a typical engineering student should do. The typical engineering student should engage with their community, and that's kind of the thing that all engineers should strive to have. So, if I were to say, like, what should a day look like versus what should a day look like versus what a day actually does look like, I would say just a lot of meetings and a lot of emails sending out and just organizing stuff. But that stuff is a big part of just being an adult, like being responsible, showing up, and being there on time and being accountable to others is a big part of just being an adult in a profession.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I'm seeing a next question, which is, what was the best approach for you to network in academic groups when you started at the university? So this is something I definitely struggled with at first when I got to college, just because you're meeting so many new friends, so many new people, you're still trying to adjust. And for me, I like the way that my dorm works is 20% of people in my dorm have to be engineers because at Notre Dame, they really try to have like women engineers really be close to each other because it is definitely like less women in the engineering field than men. So they find that if we could like live together, then normally like we collaborate more and we're more likely to stay in the major. But at least in my dorm, there's not a lot of other chemical engineers. There's a lot of mechanical engineers and computer science majors. So I really struggled finding people to do like homework with at first. But what I found was super helpful was going to office hours because normally in office hours, the professor will be helping like one or two people, but there might be like 10 or 20 people there trying to ask questions. So during that time, you kind of work with the people around you. I'd kind of be like, hey, I have this homework answer, but I'm not sure. How did you do it? And we'd compare answers. And that really helped me form bonds with a lot of different people that now I can just meet up with at other times during the day to do homework. So I definitely recommend that. I would also recommend just in your classes, at least freshman year. Nobody knows anybody. So I would just introduce yourself to the person next to you. I've done that and they've ended up being some of my best friends. And it's just, don't be shy. It's tough. It's everybody feels really awkward about it, but just introduce yourself to anybody you don't know in your classes, especially freshman year. And that'll just really help you in the long run.
Yeah, no, great kind of thing to touch on, especially talking to people the first day of school, first week of school. My kind of experience with that, I've never done that before just because I've always like scared about what the other person to think. But doing the grad school interviews, like meeting them for the first time, like people would come up to me and say, like, hi, my name is blank. And I would say, like, oh my gosh, like right then and there, like that switch just flipped that like, people are genuinely like welcome. Like people are usually, friendly. And if they aren't friendly and they kind of like shrug you off, then like that's more their issue than yours, that someday like you tried to connect with them and you tried to have a fruitful kind of relationship with them. But if they don't want kind of your shine and your brightness and your light, then whatever, just kind of just brush it off. So I would say like the thing that I'm grappling with even now is just like thinking about yourself and thinking about how you are and not how the other people perceive you is a major component of how you should kind of carry yourself in kind of these professional spaces because at the end of the day people will always have their kind of perceptions of you. It kind of depends on what your kind of brain and how you're kind of adapting to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm seeing this next one, which is what's been the most inspiring project you've worked on. So for me, I came into college with zero coding experience. I didn't know that I would have to learn that with a chemical engineering major. But freshman year, I had to take a coding class and then another one sophomore year, and I'm in my third one right now. And definitely that like freshman year class that I took, I had to do a huge like data analytics project where I took like 20,000 data points. I had to clean the data, and then I had to then like put it into MATLAB, which is coding software, if anybody knows of it. And then I had to make an app where I had like 4 different visualizations with 3 different inputs. So it sounded really complex to me. And when this was presented to me at the start of the semester, I was terrified. I was like, I don't know what any of this even means. This just seems like a lot. But by the end of the semester, I had this app fully working. I understood how to code it. I knew how it worked. And it really sparked a love for coding in me. And I didn't know that I would enjoy it that much. So definitely for me, that was the most rewarding because it felt like the most intimidating project at first. And then not only like did I finish it, but I really, really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah. Good question about how to maintain a work life balance. In regards to like, school and life, I would say like my school is very involved in my kind of life balance, which I'm trying to kind of work on. But I would say like the biggest thing that's really helped me about that is being a little bit more intentional about how I'm organizing my time. Kind of not just going by the seat of my pants and just kind of just scheduling everything like just the day before. Kind of just trying to organize your week by like, say like the start of the week, or try to organize, say like big events by the start of the month. That part is it was really helpful for kind of having that work life balance, just because you're spending less time being inefficient on just planning random stuff at like different times, and like planning when you're traveling to one place and then you realize that you could have like just stayed there if you like planned like another event, and you could have just went directly to like the same kind of area. Just little stuff like that really adds more time that I can get back home earlier and I can kind of enjoy home with my 2 little cats. So yeah, I 100% appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm saying what now, it's what classes in high school helped you prepare the most for college. So for me, it was taking a bunch of just AP classes. At least at Notre Dame, you have to have a 5 on your AP test to get out of the class. So I only got out of one class with that. And I know like other schools you can get out of more classes, which is great. At least like for me, the one class opened up enough room to where between going abroad and doing that one class, I had enough to do a minor without having to overload any semesters. But the real thing that AP classes did was it just gave me the material earlier. So I got a 4 on my Gen Chem or my chemistry AP exam. So I knew I was going to have to retake it. But when I retook it in college, I had already seen the material once before. So that class was a breeze for me because I was like, okay, like I've already learned all of this. Like I just have to do it a second time. And the same thing happened with some of my math classes and with my physics class. And so it's just really nice to get that information earlier and then just have some spots in your schedule where you can really say, okay, this is review. Like I don't have to worry about this class as much as maybe some of the new material. But yeah, so just getting a head start on that, that's definitely been like my like experience with what's helped me the most.
Yeah, I would say definitely like the APs are just kind of a reiteration of what you'll see in like the introductory courses in college. So that helped me a lot. But even then, it's kind of different because like it's different ways they're asking the questions, right? Like it's less about like just saying like ABC, this is what you use, and it's more of like, well, how do you actually apply this in a real world scenario? So college questions like that can get a little bit more difficult and get a little bit more just applied and have more kind of cognitive load on you. So I would say thinking about how to prepare for college and how to prepare for those like college level questions is thinking how to actually just apply these concepts in anything. That's what you're doing right now. Like you're learning how diffusion works with just like a tablet and like a tissue paper. So my kind of thing, if you really want to prepare for college, if you really want to prepare for that kind of like high level thinking, just look up YouTube stuff. Like I was having a conversation with this like grad student who does research, brilliant research in zebrafish, DNA like replication and kind of manipulating. And he kind of said the first thing I learned about was just looking at YouTube and learning how the software works and learning how to kind of track these algorithms. And that was just on YouTube. It was literally on YouTube. It's literally on Wikipedia. You live in like this age of information where so much is readily accessible to you. At some point, it just takes a little bit of kind of curiosity and just saying like, okay, like I'll take the confidence to just look at the material, just see what's up. But when you're kind of doing that, don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of being a little bit confused. Because when you're confused, you really just do learn the most. So yeah. Um,
Yeah, so it seems like we're starting to get close to our time to wrap up. So just to give you guys a piece of advice before we head out, I just want to say like whatever you're doing in high school, it's great. You don't stress too much about college. It's like what's gonna happen is gonna happen. And if you're interested in doing like AP classes or doing more, then do it. But I would just say like something for me was when I was in high school, I was always so stressed that I wasn't doing enough and that I just had to be like the absolute like best at every single thing I did. And I ended up at a place that I'm super happy at and I ended up like doing what I really love. So I would just say like while you're in high school, enjoy it. The time goes by super fast. So yeah, just don't worry about it too much. Just do what you want to do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that 100%. I would say my biggest advice is working on how to connect with people and working on how to kind of talk to adults and kind of navigating social spaces. That will help you a million times more than kind of like digging your nose in like an AP course book. But that definitely does help with your application. But having those lived experiences, having that curiosity, having the ability to tell someone that you did a project on your own. My friend once just like did some CAD design. Like you guys have access to like a CAD lab through Engineering Tomorrow. Did a CAD design, showed it to like his interviewer, got the position like on the spot. So again, I'm saying like it doesn't take you taking like an A in this class or getting a specific GPA. It takes you having a genuine curiosity and genuine drive to kind of learn about the world around you.
Well, on that note, I want to say thank you to these amazing mentors, Grace and Josh. That was awesome. Love all the pieces of advice that you gave to these students. And thank you for all the fantastic questions in chat. We are going to open up those breakout rooms so you guys can continue with your designs. And I'm going to just share the agenda one last time. There's 30 more minutes in the breakout room, and then we'll be back. Just so you know, in the wrap up, we want to hear from you also. Teachers, get those students ready to share with us. And please, we will get back to you guys in 30 minutes.